Hey, Internet! Happy Christmas. Christmas, yes, Christmas. Anyway, since it's almost Christmas, I decided I'd review the most Christmassy movie imaginable. Schindler's List. Now, I must confess, I've never seen Schindler's List before. I didn't really want to, but since I want to make my review stand out from your general people get Christmas presents but they might not get Christmas presents story, or three ghosts make a miser change his ways, so I'm going to review Schindler's List. Oh shit, yeah, I mixed up the discs again. This one's called The Christmas That Almost Wasn't. Okay. The Christmas That Almost Wasn't was made in Italy in the 60s and dubbed into English in the year, I don't care. It's about a Christmas that almost wasn't. Whatever, really. So, yeah, here's some Christmas movie or something. So we start with a song explaining the entire plot of the movie.
There once was a Christmas that almost wasn't, because of a man named Prune. He tried to stop Christmas, but Santa wouldn't let him have his way.
You don't need to watch the movie now that you've told us that. Seriously, this should be movie-making rule number 1. You do not explain the entire plot of the movie in the first 2 minutes. Example, in the rest of this review, I'm going to whinge and moan about tiny little details that don't really matter. No, please don't switch off. I want your eyeballs. Then the movie starts with the Nazi officer making a noose and hanging the kids from a tree with tinsel. Wait, not a Holocaust movie. Sorry, still getting used to that. Anyway, so this man keeps putting Christmas decorations up.
Why can't every day be Christmas? Why can't every day be gay?
What, YouTube mods? Bullshit. I get shat on because the movie that I'm reviewing ripped something off? Okay, that's fair.
I must be seeing things. Excuse me, sir. I hope you're not going to laugh at me, but if I didn't know any better, I'd say you were Santa Claus. You certainly look like him.
I am Santa Claus, and I'm not laughing.
Christmas is not coming this year. I am fucking sick of children.
What? Not coming? Who's going to stop it from coming?
Mr. Phineas T. Prune, and he's just the fellow who can do it, too. Years ago, the Eskimos very generously gave Mrs. Santa and myself some land up at the North Pole, rent-free. But then last year, Mr. Prune came up and bought the whole North Pole, including our little plot of land.
You mean he's your landlord now?
And I owe him a year's rent. We haven't got the money to pay it.
Wait, so you're blaming Prune for getting ripped off by some Eskimos that gave you land without owning the deed to the land? It sounds like they're the ones to blame here. So Prune takes Santa's presents for rent payment so there won't be any presents for the children. Why do children's films keep making me do this? Children's films do not deal with grown-up things. Get that into your stupid heads. So the plot of this film is Santa bumming rent off a kid he used to give presents to. So they go to the North Pole, and the elves at the North Pole who won't make toys because Prune is going to use them for rent, but...
Everything's going to be all right, don't you fret. Come on now, back to work, everybody. Just keep saying to yourself, Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming, 'twill soon be here. Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming, Christmas Day, 'twill soon be here.
Yeah, being wrecked with financial worries is a perfectly legitimate reason for not giving a fuck that it's Christmas. It seriously sounds like someone's in a lot of denial here. Or on coke. I want some coke. Mr. Prune wants rent from these bums that live on his land that he bought and think they're entitled to live there rent-free because some Eskimos ripped them off. Seriously, it sounds like Prune is fully justified. He's a landlord. He's lording his land.
Mr. Prune, isn't that rather childish?
Please, 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 children, kids, children. I've been running away from children all my life.
So, who cares? What does that matter? Who cares if he hates children? I hate children. A lot of people hate children. Now give the man his rent, you bums.
Have you got the money for the rent?
Mr. Prune,
This is Mr. Sam Whipple, our lawyer.
Thank you, Santa.
Lawyers work for free now? In other news, cheese graters make coffee. The fuck?
I've got my legal rights, I have. The North Pole belongs to me. I bought it. If tenants do not pay their rent money, landlords shall have the right to take possession of all their possessions in full payment. And furthermore,
Mr. Prune, you're going to sit right down in that chair and listen for a change.
He is right, though.
Money. Money. Money, that's all this man seems to think about.
Who said that money is all he thinks about? This is a serious real-world lesson here, kids. In the real world, lawyers will not save you from landlords that want rent for free. This is really just enforcing some bad life lessons. Yeah, give me the rent, you bum. Is money really all you think about? Yeah, well, I've got kids to feed. Oh. Why would you make toys for every kid in the world if you're too poor to afford your rent? You've clearly got a shit business model going here. And then Mr. Prune says this.
therefore, I have decided that you do not have to pay me the rent. There is one condition, Mr. Claus.
Name it, Mr. Prune, name it. It's done.
You must promise never again to give Christmas presents to children.
I can't make that promise. I won't stop giving Christmas presents to children. I don't want to.
He's trying to give you help, Santa. You're in kind of a hole here.
But as for you, Mr. Prune, I think you are just about the meanest man I have ever met.
No, Prune is a very shrewd financial advisor. Listen to him. So they all decide to try and convince Mr. Prune to remember that he was a child once and love and stuff instead of, I don't know, doing some fucking work. You know, times are hard, Santa. Get a job. Any job you can, just like the rest of us. And the lawyer convinces him to get a job at a toy shop.
Oh, my. Turn around, my good man.
Now take it off, bitch. Given the tone of this movie, would that seriously surprise you? And Santa gets employed as a mall Santa, so Santa himself was the first mall Santa to pay his rent. Oh God, it hurts my head thinking about that. What's real? Who am I? Who's everyone? That man has a hat. My hat is a hat. Kill them crackpots.
Well,
But Santa, these children aren't going to be asleep. They'll be wide awake.
awake?
Why, Santa, what's the matter?
In all my years, I've never seen one single child wide awake.
The Rohypnol was always too strong. And Santa sings asking why children can't stay up late.
I know that parents say Santa Claus will stay away if children are not fast asleep in bed. I wish they'd break the rule. On Christmas there's no school. Why can't all children stay up late instead?
Bad movie, naughty movie, go to your room. So I don't have to finish watching you. And will they run with scissors and take candy from strangers? Anyway, so Lawyer Man teaches Santa to go ho 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 like a crazy person. And then Santa and the lawyer start having mental breakdowns and playing with the toys. You're meant to be fucking grown-ups and you're about to get kicked out of your house. Act act like it. Anyway, Prune is angry because Santa got a job to pay for his rent.
If he makes enough money to pay the rent, I'm ruined. I am ruined.
The fuck? What were you doing before? Selling his toys on at a profit? Anyway, they plot some more while Santa and Lawyer wait for Christmas and sing stuff and... Okay, Sam, you do know that time doesn't pass quicker just because you rip dates off a calendar, right? Trust me, I speak from experience. Doesn't work. Anyway, we return to the elves and Mrs. Claus looking for evidence Prune was a child once because... I don't know, he could just deny it anyway if you found it. And aren't Santa and Sam working to pay the rent, so you don't actually need to do this. Redundant subplot. Anyway, some unseen person breaks some toys.
Mr. Prune, what are you doing in Prim's department store?
Correction! You mean Prune's department store, don't you?
So Prune bought the department store? I have 10 fingers and 2 thumbs. Wow. Anyway, so he fires them and he demands they pay for the broken toys out of their own money, so now they can't pay the rent again. Anyway, kids across the world go to sleep on Christmas Eve and... question movie. If Santa had his presents taken as rent before, why are the kids expecting something this year? Surely these kids should be expecting bitter disappointment if you had your presents confiscated last year by bailiffs. What the fuck? Also, surely this happened last year, so you had a whole year to prepare so the kids wouldn't be disappointed again this year. So, yeah, if you actually think about the plot of this movie, Santa's a lazy shit. I hope that Prune gets one over on him. And all looks lost and there's no way out.
So that was the Christmas that almost wasn't.
No, just kidding, a Christmas miracle happens. Although it should be noted, kids, real life doesn't work like that. If you've got a faulty business model, you go bankrupt and starve to death. I mean, you do know you don't have to get kids presents every year, right? Yes, I know you set a precedent, but change the rules maybe. Maybe Santa comes once every 2 years. So yeah, this random kid comes along and calls all the kids of the world to wake up to chip into Santa's rent. So the kids pay for Santa's rent so Santa can give them toys instead of the toys going to Prune. Surely the kids could just buy the toys off Prune instead. I mean, Santa's just freeloading here because he's Santa. Again, get a job, Santa, you lazy shit. And so yeah, bloopity 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 bloop, the kids help him. Meanwhile, Prune is waiting for his rent and Santa shows up with the rent and Santa rushes to get the presents out and he does. And then assumedly he waited a whole year until December the 10th next year and thought, oh shit, I don't have the rent again, and had another panic and everything happened again. I'm sorry, he hasn't learned any sort of lesson from this. He's being bailed out when he was the one that fucked up here. He left things till last minute. Bad movie, go to your corner. And they reveal that Prune didn't get a sailboat when he was a kid because someone lost his letters to Santa, and that's why he's emotionally jaded against children. Again, sounds like a pretty relevant complaint against an administrative fuck-up. Prune really is the tragic anti-hero of this movie. So yeah, the end. So yeah, in this movie, Santa is a stoned alcoholic squatter with a faulty business practice with an idiot friend fighting his corner, while a very understanding man with a hat and moustache tries to convince him to give up and reform his self-deluding destructive ways before he goes bankrupt and dies of cholera. I mean, Prune kind of lost his motivations halfway through and it stopped making sense, but yeah. Overall, I approve of the tone. Yeah, it was boring on occasion, but for appreciating that keeping kids in a little bubble where Christmas is magical and when the real world is full of economic ruin and putting a brave face on things is for idiots, psychos and weirdos, life is bleak and horrible and magical elves are depressed. No, Christmas doesn't fix itself. People have to slave away the whole year doing pointless jobs to pay for stuff to be nice and happy. Fuck you, kids. You get everything handed to you on a plate. Get used to it. 15 years' time, Christmas is going to be all about misery and hard work. So yeah, I'm the herbal crackpot. Happy Christmas and a miserable rest of the year. Bye, Internet.
There once was a Christmas that almost wasn't. There once was a Christmas that almost wasn't because of a man named Prune. Now Prune was a man who jolly